everyone, SimsEclaire here and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to be making the zombie cake from The Sims 4. Now, I'm really excited about this one. Actually, anytime I get to bake a cake, I'm super excited, especially when it's very, very highly decorated. Now, this one is going to be a little bit of a challenge because I've never done like a cake that's supposed to look like a character or anything before, so I'm a little excited about it. This is going to be my first time doing it, and it's going to be on camera, so if I do mess it up, please do not butcher me in the comments down below. But I also wanted to say thank you guys for being patient. I know that I skipped a weekend of spooky baking, and as some of you know who follow me on Twitter, it is because I had a family emergency, so thank you all for being very patient with me and allowing me to kind of take the weekend off. Thank you all for being patient and for all your support and love, and let's get into this video. Okay, so getting started, I did pre-measure all of my ingredients because cakes take a while, and red velvet cake in particular has a lot of ingredients. It's probably the cake with the most ingredients I think you will ever have to make. Like the dry ingredients alone is just like 8 things. It's like flour, baking soda, baking powder, cornstarch, chocolate powder, cocoa powder, and so it's a lot. So I went ahead and pre-measured everything. So we're starting with our mixing bowl, and we have 3 cups of sugar in here, and then we're adding in our butter. It is about a half a cup of butter. Now, technically, the recipe that I'm using calls for vegetable oil, but I really don't like putting vegetable oil in my cakes. They always have this underlying oil flavor to them, I always think. I have to do them at work because I do some vegan dishes, and obviously vegan dishes can't use butter, so I always have to, so there are some dishes where I have to use oil instead of butter, and I always taste this underlying like bland oil flavor in them, and I can't stand it. So I did switch mine over to butter. If you prefer oil, or if you're vegan, go right ahead and add the oil, although I'm not quite sure how you can make, like, that's why I don't understand why they use oil, because you have, like, the point of a red velvet cake is that it has buttermilk in it, which obviously means it's not vegan, so I don't understand why at that point they just don't use the butter, but it's fine. We're gonna deal with it. I am gonna go cream this in my mixer, so that is going to be really loud, and I'm going to cut it out of video. But that's what I'm going to go do, and then I'll meet you right back here. Okay, now we are back, and as you can see, so it isn't quite as creamed as it usually is. It's still rather dry, and that is because we have like 4 more cups of wet ingredients we have to add into this. So we're gonna start with the eggs. So it's going to be 4 eggs. Okay, now that we have all 4 eggs in there, I'm gonna go ahead and cream this again. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and just put the vanilla in here with this. So it's about a teaspoon. Okay, and now that we've creamed in the eggs and the vanilla, I am actually going to go ahead and do the rest of the mixing over here. Not only am I not 100% sure that all of this is actually going to fit in my mixing bowl, because it is a lot of dry ingredients that way, but I think it's cake batter, so it shouldn't be that hard to mix by hand. But I am a little nervous that if I try and throw all these dry ingredients into my mixing bowl in the mixer, it's just gonna go and get cocoa powder everywhere. And if you've never had to clean up cocoa powder off of white counters, you are blessed, okay? It is not easy to clean cocoa powder off of white counters. So I am just gonna be doing the rest of this by hand. So I'm gonna real quickly change the angle of the camera so you all can see what I'm doing. Okay, so in here is the egg and sugar butter mixture thing, and I have my spatula. And then over here, this is my dry ingredients. So as I said earlier, this is flour, baking powder, baking soda, cornstarch, cocoa powder, and salt. I think that's all of them. Yeah, so that's what this is. So yeah, for those of you who didn't know, because I actually didn't know for the longest time, before I became like an avid baker when I would just eat it as a kid, red velvet is actually a type of chocolate cake, which always surprised me because I hate chocolate cake. Okay, I don't hate it. I love everything chocolate except for chocolate cake because it's almost always so dry. So I always like try to avoid it when I can. But yeah, so red velvet, and then red velvet was my favorite. So I had like no idea that it was a chocolate cake, but it's such a moist chocolate cake. It really, I mean, you can't really tell, especially because, I mean, it's red. But it's also interesting because, like, those, like, fake red velvet cakes that you get that are, like, super, super bright, vibrant red, they don't have as much chocolate in it as, like, traditional homemade ones. That's basically what the difference is. So mine won't be, like, blood red. It'll still be pretty red, but it won't be blood red. And I think that that might be why I had no idea it was chocolate cake, because when I was younger, even though my mom baked all the time, she didn't really do anything super fancy except for like birthdays and holidays. So red velvet was usually like a cupcake I bought from the store. So that's probably why I had no idea it had chocolate in it. But anyway, backstory over. I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing. So we are going to alternate the dry and then the rest of the wet ingredients. So in here is buttermilk, and in here is water mixed with a teaspoon of vinegar. And those are all gonna have to go into this cake batter. So we're just gonna go ahead and start mixing. I'm probably gonna do like the 1/3 method, do like 1/3 of the dry ingredients, and then half of these wet ingredients, and then another third, and then the last half, and then the last third. That's usually how these things are supposed to go. Wow. Even without using the mixer, I got crap all over the counter. Wow. Oh, it looks like one of the things I got on the counter was an eggshell. So, I mean, that's a bonus. Like, I got an eggshell out of my bowl. So we are back to make the icing. Now, a couple of things. As you can see, I have stripped a little bit. It is really hot in this kitchen. It's not hot outside, but it's humid because of the rain, and my oven is on, and so it's just all of that together with all the doors closed and all the windows closed has just created this like hot box of just unbearable heat in this kitchen. And usually it's not that big of a deal when I'm at work because I'm in like my chef attire, but I was in like a winter sweater, so I did take off my sweater. I hope you guys don't mind. I know it's a little scandalous. But as promised, we are back to do the icing. Now, I did totally forget to turn on my camera when I started doing the icing. I was just totally in like full baker mode. So I did already start it. I hope you guys don't mind, but this is just like 16 ounces of cream cheese. I went ahead and put it in my mixer and I was creaming it up a little bit. And right now I'm just gonna scrape the sides and then add my butter. So it's a very simple icing for this cake. It is cream cheese icing, which I used to hate, like I really did, but now I love it. It's one of my favorites because the cream cheese like cuts out some of the sweetness from that sugar. So basically cream cheese icing, if you remember my earlier cake video, the strawberry cake, when I talked about French versus American buttercream, basically cream cheese icing is American buttercream but with cream cheese put in it. Like cut the butter in half and then fill in that empty void with cream cheese. That's basically kind of what it is. So it really cuts down on the sweetness a little bit. So, and also it pairs really well with red velvet. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the cream cheese with the chocolate or like what it is, but it's like the most well paired one with red velvet cake. And it's also white, which means I can dye it, which is important because I need like 4 different colors for this cake. So that is what I'm doing right now. And I just need another spatula so I can go ahead and scrape the sides of this. Scrape down the ends a little bit. And how we're going to do this is, darn it. I am going to do a crumb coat around the cake, just like a little one. I'm gonna do it with white icing. And then we'll see how much icing I have left because I might have to do another batch of icing real quick. But I'm gonna do a crumb coat and then chill the cake to make sure that none of the decorative icings get any like weird cake bumps in them. And then I will come back after I do the crumb coat and finish off the cake on camera with you guys. Okay, so here we have our green. Now in The Sims, it's a little bit more of like a neon green, but I don't have a neon green color, so I did just go with like this dark green. And I think it'll be okay. I don't really think it's going to matter. And basically, I'm just using this to cover the top and sides of the cake, hopefully. There is some crumbs in this one. I am gonna let you guys know that. That is because this was the same one that I used to do the crumb coat. So there is a little bit of red velvet kind of mixed in, but I think that that's okay, because I mean, this is a zombie, so it's not like he's going to be perfect. I mean, he was underground for quite a bit of time, you know, family forgot about him. I'm sure he's rather salty about it. I'm pretty sure that him having a few cracks and bumps is not, it's gonna be the least of our worries. And I'm also now noticing that there's apparently some unmixed cream cheese in here, which is really upsetting me, because I thought I did a really good job of whipping this, but apparently not. So I feel like it's a little disproportionate, but I mean, it kind of looks like a zombie-ish. I'm not 100% sure about this one, but yeah, I mean, that's my zombie cake. I really like the brain. That's like my favorite part. I think everything else kind of just looks there. I will say, in my defense, it looks better in person than it does on camera. But yeah, so that was our zombie cake. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!